Yo, what's going on, yo? This is Marcus Rosa, aka Mazuma TV, back at y'all with some more boxing talk, man. I hope everybody's having a blessed, beautiful, positive, productive night. I'm back at y'all with to give you guys my live fight commentary to Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. 2. We're gonna be giving you guys my live fight commentary, round by round commentary analysis. Then of course we're gonna get into the live fight results, man. Conor Benn just made his ring introduction, and it was nothing short of phenomenal, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. The drums, you know what I mean? Ready or not, here you come. You can't hide. They mixed it in with "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. Phenomenal. Oh shit! 50 Cent walking out. Chris Eubank Jr. walking out the many men. Ooh wee! They brought my nigga 50 Cent out to the UK. Let's go, champ. Oh, man. Your life away. Many, man. Man. Push up on me, or I don't cry no more. I don't look to the sky no more. Free farm motherfucker, I ain't dead. Ooh, he coming out the wankster. 50, a.k.a. Ferrari. Gangster. You never pop none. You need to stop, friend. Damn. Yo, both of these intros is fire, bro. God damn. Let's go. I love it, man. I like sometimes just get straight to the fight, but I don't mind a little bit of entertainment in between as long as it ain't no hour-long performances, hour-long intermissions. We cool. You feel what I'm saying? I like this, man. I like this, man. He came out the wankster. He talking right to Conor Benn too, nigga. You is a wankster. You never pop none. Boy, you need to stop fronting. Come on, man. Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. The fuck happened to you? Come on, dog. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. So they're about to rumble soon. You know what I mean? Great introductions. Great introductions. Well, great ring entrances, I'm gonna say. By both Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., man. I see somebody mention Jack Catterall. You feel what I mean? Shout out to them. Shout out to Jack Catterall. Shout out to Bullsy Ennis. Definitely had Jack Catterall right. He was in phenomenal shape. Um, his opponent, what's how do you pronounce his opponent's name, man? Esserman or something like that. He was rallying back. He was coming back. He was strong. That dude got a lot of dog in him. Got a lot of grit, but Jack Catterall was able to finish him, late in the fight. That was a great back and forth, man. I loved it. Definitely a fight of the year contender. And the way that Jack Catterall actually finished his opponent was phenomenal too, man. Ended up getting the WBO Global Welterweight title. Don't know what type of title that is, but obviously it's a version of the WBO, so that'll be him moving up the WBO rankings. You feel what I mean? So shout out to Jack Catterall, man. I love what he's doing. Shout out to him for coming to Philadelphia, training with one of the top trainers in the world, Bozy Ennis, along with his team. Lawrence, I think his name is Lawrence Smalls, which is Bozy's partner. He came out to whip your head, boy. Look at you, Bank. Look at you, Bank Senior dancing to 50 Cent. This dude is a fucking fool. Bozy Trainer of the Year and shout out Boxing Mom. This dude Justin relentless, bro. Shout out to everybody that's in the building though, man. Shout out to Justin Jackson. Shout out to Ralph. Shout out to Fast Life Entertainment. What up, brother? Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Y'all go ahead and hit the likes, man. I understand not many people are in here right now. You feel what I mean? But because they watching the fight, but they'll be back in once we get the results. I heard Nigel Benn saying that he think his son is going to stop Eubank between 1-3 or 3-6. That's what he's saying. So he's saying this ain't going no more than 6 rounds. That's bold. I want y'all to leave y'all predictions though, man. Michael Buffer's doing his introductions right now. I don't really know what to think about this fight, to be honest with you, man. I've been contemplating. Exactly how the way this fight is gonna go, and I think it's all dependent on Chris Eubank Jr. And I'm gonna tell you why. There's a likelihood that there's two things that may happen that may play a real big part in this fight. The good part, let's get into the good part. We got Brian Bomac McIntyre and his staff helping Chris Eubank in this fight. You know what I mean? Meaning that he may be he's winning the elite team. You feel what I mean? He got a great game plan. He's in there with an experienced team of guys who knows what it's like to fight at a high level. When the odds are this high, you want somebody like Brian Bomac McIntyre and his staff to be handling these type of situations because they've been there before. They've been at the top of the boxing game. They know what it takes in order to come out victorious. They know what it takes to roll the dice and come out successful. So this is definitely, Bomac might actually play a strong part in why he comes out victorious in this fight against Conor Benn once again. However, considering the first fight, Conor Benn is playing this role as if he's not emotionally attached to this fight anymore. He seems to be a bit mature in the lead up to this fight. You know what I mean? Not crashing out, I guess you would say. And I think he understands that, he can't approach Chris Eubank in an emotional way because, you know what I mean? That's the reason why he came up short in this fight. You feel what I mean? But considering how the way the first fight went, Chris Eubank came out victorious. Let's not get it wrong. However, he didn't leave that ring without a couple scratches, a couple bumps, a couple bruises. Jaw looked all swollen, had to be taken to the hospital, was extremely dehydrated from what I understand. He took some damage. He got rocked several times throughout that fight. And considering the fact that Chris Eubank Jr. is 36 years old, coming off of a fight 7 months ago where he took a lot of damage, there's a likelihood that Eubank might come into this fight and look a little like a step off. You know what I mean? Might look like he's on a decline. Might look like an older fighter in this fight. So I seen Chris Eubank make the weight. Look like he made the weight easier than the first time. You know what I mean? He came in 169, this morning with the rehydration clause. He was able to replenish since then. So he's probably every bit of, the high 70s right now or mid 70s. We just got to see how Chris Eubank, is able to, respond, from a mental and a physical aspect. Mentally, I believe he's locked in. But his physical, considering the punishment he took 7 months ago, and, the sparring and the preparation that he's had since then, is he going to be able to have what it takes physically to go through another possible war with Conor Benn? You feel what I mean? Because Conor Benn took some punishment too. But I think Chris may have left that ring a bit more damaged than Conor Benn. You feel what I mean? Conor Benn could punch. You know what I mean? You don't want to take too many punches from a fast, explosive, big puncher like Conor Benn. And Chris Eubank went through the fire in that fight. He was able to get past with his will, his heart, his determination. That was able to get him through the first fight. Shout out to Terrence Crawford that's in the building. But we don't know if he left that ring with less of himself. You see what I'm saying? So we'll see. I'm rooting for Chris Eubank Jr. I hope he's able to pull this off. I love his approach. I love his mentality. He like, I beat you once, I beat you again type shit. I think with Brian Bomac McIntyre, though, I think that he has in Eubank's head that, you beat him with the dog, you beat him with the heart the first time. You know what I mean? You got that out your system. You was able to prove yourself. Now we're going to approach him from a smart aspect. I think that, Chris Eubank is going to take the time to box. I think he's going to use his brain. He's not going to use his heart this time. So I think that Chris Eubank Jr. is going to come in here with a good game plan. I think he's going to be looking to follow through with that game plan. Emotions detached from this situation. So we'll see. They just did the introduction for both guys. It's definitely intense in that ring right now. They taking off the jackets. Conor Benn has a fire outfit on. Chris Eubank got the I don't know what that is. I don't think that's mink. Is that mink that Eubank Jr. has on? Well, what is that? What type of material is that? I don't know. That's a bit too expensive for my taste buds, brothers and sisters. 50 definitely had it more lit. Shout out to the boy 50. That's one of my favorite rappers of all time. But they about to get that shit in. You could really feel it in the air, man. You could definitely feel it in the air. Yeah, 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 yeah. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, Nigel Benn said it's gonna be an early night, but that's just him supporting his son. I mean, that don't mean it's factual, but he did have an insight on seeing how the way his son performed in training camp. Maybe he's seen something that we not expecting. Maybe this turn, kind of been up a little bit. We're about to find out. We definitely about to find out. My final prediction: I think Chris Eubank wins by unanimous decision yet again, but we'll see. I see Chris Eubank Jr. has trunks, the yellow and red trunks, commemorating his father, I believe, because he has similar trunks. And round one has started. Chris Eubank kind of been looking to, get right to it. He's using his feints and level changes to try to close the gap against Eubank, but Eubank is already utilizing his jab. There's clearly a size difference between the two, man. Chris Eubank looks like he replenished pretty well, to be honest. Big shoulders, looks to be in terrific shape. Conor Benn looks to be in spectacular shape as well. Just looks like a bit of a smaller man, but that's completely understandable because this man done fought as low as 147 pounds. You know what I mean? That's why they had the weight restrictions and all of that. They didn't want to make it too out of reach for Conor Benn to come out victorious. So clear size difference between the two, but I think it's safe to say that Conor Benn is the aggressor thus far in the fight. He's just trying to find his range, and Conor Benn is being a bit not necessarily weary, but he's trying to approach it in an intelligent manner because Eubank is countering. You feel what I'm saying? Big body shot from Conor Benn. He put everything behind that right hook to the body. But Eubank is getting that jab off, keeping Conor Benn at range. Conor Benn isn't really utilizing his jab right now. Ooh, that was a good right hand from Conor Benn. That was a big right hand from Conor Benn. I wonder if that got Eubank's attention. He looked like he ate it pretty well, but I wonder if that got his attention because he held Conor Benn immediately after that. Ooh, good right hand from Chris Eubank Jr. That was a good right hand. Eubank kind of looked like he took it pretty well, but that was a clean right hand off the double jab. So both of these guys right now, they already landed some good shots. I think the key for Eubank really is to keep utilizing that jab. You know what I mean? We gotta neutralize that right hand if we in Chris Eubank Jr.'s corner. I'm not talking as if I am. But if I'm looking at Chris Eubank's corner, or if I'm Chris Eubank himself, I'm taking away that right hand. You feel what I'm saying? That right hand he's been loading up on heavy, whether it was the hook to the body or the straight right hand up top. I would definitely pump that jab and neutralize that right hand. You feel what I mean? Whether I'm walking to my right or whatever the case is, I'm not gonna walk to that right hand whatsoever. Very, very smart on Chris Eubank Jr.'s part and tying up Conor Benn whenever he tries to get on the inside as well. Smart boxing. Definitely some smart boxing. We got 15 seconds left in the first round. And it's just a lot of posing for Conor Benn. You see what I mean? It's a lot of posing. He's having trouble closing the gap. Eubank's doing a great job and utilizing his jab. Damn, this is a close round. If it closes out like this, that was a pretty close round, y'all. Let me know how y'all got that score. That was a close round. I seen Conor Benn landed a good right hand in the beginning. Chris Eubank followed up with a good right hand after the fact. I did think that Conor Benn had trouble closing the gap. You know what I mean? He was missing some, he was lunging into some big shots, missing by a country mile. Chris Eubank was very effective with his jab. He was very effective with his jab. So considering the fact that I might have to edge that to Chris Eubank, I might have to edge that to Chris Eubank because even though Conor Benn was being the aggressor, he had trouble closing the gap. And when guys can't really land no big significant shots, we got to look at the different categories. Defense, you know what I mean? Ring IQ. I think Chris Eubank is controlling the pace of this fight. I think the ring generalship is favor. I think it favored Chris Eubank in that round. You know what I mean? I think his jab pretty much saved him. Now we're in the second round. It was definitely a close round. AJ 86. You could have gave that to anybody. What you mean? Can you flip it? If that's a troll, just pack him immediately. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Sound like some weird shit though. Good jab from Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank is having a lot of success with that jab. That's probably what Bomac got him saying in the corner. Yo, just keep that jab on him. Keep them straight shots on him. Don't allow him to close that gap. And when he do, tie him up. I already got a feel for what Chris Eubank's game plan is. And he doesn't look like he's really trying to get into a war with Conor Benn whatsoever. You got to use your smarts. You know what I mean? Because trading fire with fire, even though you came out successful in the first fight doing that, you don't want to, do that again because that favors somebody like Conor Benn. Nah, we can't. Nah, because that'll give us copyright issues. We're not doing that, brother. My apologies for that. We can't show fight footage. The video will get taken down. The channel will get a strike, and that's not what we're trying to do over here, brothers and sisters. So my apologies for that. There was a little bit of a commotion, kind of, they tripped over each other, but you know, the action has resumed. And it's the same story from the first round, to be honest. We see Conor Benn, putting the pressure on Chris Eubank. Good body shot from Conor Benn. But it's really Conor Benn trying to close the gap and Chris Eubank just boxing him, using his movement, using his straight shots, good body shots from Conor Benn. I hope those don't pile up too much. That could not be, that won't be too good if that carries over into the later rounds. That jab on Chris Eubank's phenomenal though. It's giving Conor Benn some issues. But Conor Benn, he's landing some. He's getting off some sharp shots, man. Conor Benn has some sharp punches. He's a very sharp puncher. But Chris Eubank has to continue doing what he's doing. You know what I mean? It's early rounds, so that's when guys are still strong. You know what I mean? Still explosive, still very powerful. Gas tank is still, on point. So Chris Eubank, you know what I mean? He don't want to give Conor Benn too much of that little bit of a rabbit punch from Conor Benn. He definitely has to be careful with that. But I like Chris Eubank's composure, man. I like what he's doing. Utilizing his jab, not really getting, emotional, just staying focused on the game plan. But, Conor Benn, he may have taken this approach that he's not emotional or whatever the case is. Marlon 2631 got a 2-0. Is my video behind? Is my fight behind? Yeah, that round I would definitely give the Conor Benn. So I got it 1-1, to be honest, going into the third. Ah, shit. All right, let me see if I could. All right, so we at the beginning. I believe we're at the beginning of the third. My apologies. I was a bit behind. Let's see what's going on over here. Having some technical difficulties. We're going to get that taken care of, though. Let's see what's going on, man. What's going on? What y'all thinking, though, man? Let me know. Leave your thoughts and opinions below. Let me know. My boy Marlon 2631 says 2-0 Benn. Do y'all agree with that? Do y'all got it 1-1? Y'all got it 2-0? Let me know what y'all thinking. Let me know what y'all thinking, man. Conor Benn is definitely getting his shots off quicker, and Chris Eubank is a little bit slow to the counter, just a second off, just a hair off from landing the good counters. You feel what I'm saying? Agent 86 got a 1-1. Okay. Man, Conor Benn is looking for that right hand. Chris Eubank cannot allow Conor to get that right hand off. I got to see Chris Eubank just be a little bit more active, man. He got to be a little bit more active with that lead hand. If he really wants to disturb Conor Benn's game plan, if he really wants to have him, give him some real trouble closing the gap, he has to use that jab. He has to keep that jab on him. Some lateral movement, some side to side movement is good. Ooh, good counter from Eubank. That was a nice little uppercut, a little flurry that kind of caught Conor Benn by surprise. I like what I'm seeing from Chris Eubank, though. That jab is definitely effective. I just want to see him use it a bit more. You know what I mean? Good left hook counter from Eubank. So Eubank is landing some good counters on Ben, man. Ben is getting a little bit reckless. He's having trouble, closing the gap against Eubank. You feel what I'm saying? And there's a little bit of frustration on Eubank's on Conor Benn's part because while Chris Eubank tripped, he pushed his head down. So it's showing some signs of frustration from Conor Benn's part. You cannot afford to get frustrated in the third round of this fight whatsoever. Yeah, Conor Benn is definitely frustrated. So how did y'all 2-1 Ben? Damn. Okay, so you gave Chris Eubank that round. So I got a 2-1. I got a 2-1 Eubank right now. But close competitive fight thus far, man. Um, like I said, Eubank is clearly the more skilled fighter in my opinion. I do think that Conor Benn is the more gifted fighter in terms of having a guy, the God-given ability, the quickness, the speed, the power, the explosiveness. But I just feel like Chris Eubank Jr. is the more polished fighter, and you could tell throughout the fight, man. Like, um, he's utilizing his jab real well. You know what I mean? He's keeping his range with his footwork, with his jab and his footwork. And whenever Conor Benn is attempting to close the gap, or he comes in with a big punch, Eubank is making him pay with his combination. So, ring IQ, in my opinion, is definitely favoring Eubank right now. But Eubank definitely has to be careful because Conor Benn looks very quick, very strong, and he's punching with bad intention. So he has to fight a smart fight. And Conor Benn he's definitely frustrated, so he's getting a bit physical, tapping into some dirty tactics, to be honest. Yeah, this is turning into a dirty fight, y'all. It's getting a bit physical in there. They're literally like reflecting their fathers, though, man. Like, it's hilarious. Like, this is, Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank Sr. Chris Eubank Sr. was like the composed, relaxed guy. And, Nigel, ooh, that was a good right hand from Conor Benn. That was a good one. That was a good one. Conor Benn is, damn. Carl Frampton gave Conor Benn all 3 rounds. Okay. Ben is in control right now to me. How can you say that, Bella, when he's having trouble closing the gap? He's clearly having a range issue. Like, he's landing little shots here and there, but for the most part, he's not really able to get those big shots off. He's getting hit with counters. He's being kept away by, a pump and jab. How could you say he's in control of the fight? He's falling into counters. See, look at that. Look at that. He fell in and got hit with 2 body shots back to back. I don't really see that as somebody who's in control. When you're in control, you're dictating the pace of the fight. I think Chris Eubank's dictating the pace of the fight off the jab alone, and the footwork. He's controlling the pace of the fight right now. Conor Benn he knows not to get too crazy with his combinations, because when we look at Conor Benn, he usually lets his hands go. He's punching in combinations. He's having trouble doing so, and you gotta give Chris Eubank credit for that. That was a good left hook from Eubank. But Eubank he got to pick up his feet a little bit more, because when he's sitting in the pocket or he has his feet planted, Conor Benn is setting up some wicked shots. He's throwing throwaway punches and letting that right hand go. Eubank doesn't want to get hit too clean with them shots, man, because Conor Benn could really crack. Conor Benn needs to watch with them rabbit punches, man. Every time Conor gets like in the clinch with him, he hits him behind the head. At the end of that guy needs to be warned. That's kind of dangerous. I'm gonna give that round to Conor Benn. Because Eubank just sat in the pocket a bit too long, and when Conor Benn was sneaking in. He would shoot two punches, but it's the same thing with Conor Benn. Throwaway shot, big shot. Throwaway shot, big shot. But Chris Eubank ain't really catching on to that. You feel what I mean? Because he keeps getting hit. He'll miss the first shot, but he seems to land the second, whether it's to the head or the body. And plus, Eubank was a bit off with his timing in terms of countering Conor. He was missing just a bit off. His timing is just a bit off in the counter punching department. So I'm gonna give that round to Conor Benn. So I got it tied up. 2-2 going into the fifth. Great fight so far, though. Definitely different from the first fight. This is more of like a chess match on both sides. I think both of these guys came into this fight, put their emotions away, and they moving off a strategy now. Good jab from Eubank, man. Good jab. That jab is giving Conor some problems, man. Good jab. Look at that jab. Phenomenal jab. See, Conor Benn landed one right hand. And they didn't give Eubank any credit for like the 6 jabs he landed in a row. Like, jabs count too, yo. I know the right hand looks more, pleasing to the eye, but jabs count too. Clean, effective jabs at that. Ooh, man, that right hand is just a mark off, man. Eubank needs to get out of the way. That jab is really effective, though. I hear Bomac yelling instructions, but I can't hear exactly what he's saying. Woo! Good 1-2 from Eubank. Good jab from Eubank. Great jab, dog. Great jab. Eubank's just a bit off with his power shots, man. But his jab is on the money, though. Bomag's looking for 2 to 3 punch combinations. I agree. Definitely need to let them go a bit more. Seems like the only thing Eubank got going on right now is the jab. Conor Benn getting his jab off now. But everything else seems to be off. And Eubank's toolbox. Ooh, good uppercut counter from Eubank. Good body. I think a firefight is gonna break out, yo. I genuinely think a firefight's about to break out. Cause both of these guys, they getting a bit impatient with playing the chess game. That's what it's looking like, in my opinion. Okay, I might have to give that the Conor Benn, man. The jab was on the money for Eubank, but you need more than the jab in order to win a round, in my opinion. Um, do I have it even right now? I got it 3-2. I have, as of right now. Hopefully, I keep track of the rounds. But right now, I have it 3-2 Conor Benn. So it's a bit competitive going into the sixth, man. I had it tied up until Conor Benn just took this round, obviously. Um, Chris Eubank's jab is on the money. Very, very, good jab, but there's nothing else that's coming in. But Conor Benn is landing the jab in his own right, and he's landing some clean power punches. So if I have to pick somebody who's landing an effective jab with no power shots, there's somebody who's landing, a jab at times with power shots. I'm gonna gravitate towards the latter. You feel what I'm saying? So I got a 3-2 Ben right now. Ben is definitely focused. You know what I mean? He's coming into this fight a bit tamed, a bit relaxed, not putting his mind to the side. You feel what I mean? He's coming in, you know, with some composure. But now we're in the sixth round. Conor Benn is still looking fresh, as he should be, because he hasn't really taken any devastating shots. Man, Conor Benn is looking very dangerous, man. Very dangerous, very fast. Like I said, punching with bad intentions, and he's exploding this. Especially with counter punches, and you know, Chris Eubank got this tendency of pulling straight back with his hands down, and that could really leave him open for that left hook. I don't really want. You gotta be more cautious defensively if you're Eubank. You feel what I'm saying? Good jab from Eubank, but like I said, where's everything else to follow that? That was a good left hook from Conor Benn. And Chris Eubanks tying up right away. Good one too from Conor Benn. He's piling them points up, man. The harder, cleaner, more effective punches seem to be coming from Conor Benn right now. Chris Eubank keeps pulling back, man. This could be really bad, especially in the later rounds. Mm. Yeah. I don't know exactly what's going on with Eubank, but his power punches don't seem to be there, and the constant tying up isn't really helping his case much neither. Just looks a bit. He looks a step off with his timing. And Nigel Benn said that this fight is going to end between 1-6, right? We're currently in the sixth round. Ooh, big right hand. Good right hand from Connor. He said Ben whooping, bro. He definitely getting off on him. I don't know if it's whooping yet. I don't know if it's a whooping yet. But Connor's definitely getting off on him. He's starting to pull away with these rounds. So Eubank has to make a choice on what he's going to do. Is he going to keep playing it safe like this and having trouble offensively, or is he going to take chances and let his hands go? I give that round to Conor Benn as well. So what we got it? We got a 4-2. We got a 4-2 Benn going into six. That's not a good spot to be in. Eubank is weight drained. He definitely looks a bit off. His timing, um, you know, his timing is definitely what's off more than anything. And that could be that could just be you can't really blame it on the layoff because he only was off 7 months. Um, being overtrained, being undertrained could definitely play a part. I doubt he's undertrained. He may possibly be overtrained. Maybe the damage he took in the first fight, he's a diminished version of himself, like I said. You feel what I mean? It could be several things. It could be several things. But Chris Eubank needs to make a choice right now what he's gonna do. Conor Benn's definitely locked in though, man. He want this bad. And we're not really seeing that same urgency from Eubank that we've seen in the past. Now we're currently in the seventh round, so Nigel Benn's prediction is definitely wrong. Ooh, good left hook from Eubank. But man, Conor Benn, he smelled blood in the water, man. He smelled blood in the water, bro. He smells blood in the water. He's going for it. But Eubank, he ain't going nowhere. He ain't no hoe. Carl Froch. I mean, not Carl Froch. Wait, who is that? Fanzone has it 60-55. I don't know about that. Good body shots. Conor Benn is ripping the body, but Chris Eubank's coming off of some good counters. But his counters don't seem to have the same steam that Ben's has. Woo! Good right hook to the body. Shit. Ben is ripping that body, bro. Good jab to the body from Conor. He just seems to be landing the more significant punches, man. Like the more effective shots. And yeah, it's definitely something wrong with Eubank. Eubank just looks like a tad off. Like he just looks off. His timing looks off. He looks slow. His timing, he's not looking too good, yo. I'm not gonna lie to you. People are questioning Father Time. I told y'all before this fight started. That was a good body shot from Ben. Them little body shots, they piling up. And listen, Bomac is a phenomenal trainer, but there's no trainer that have ever graced God's green earth that could neutralize Father Time, man. There's nothing you could do about that. You could be well trained. Bomac may have did a phenomenal job, but good right hand from Ben. That looked like that rocked Eubank. But Eubank keeps responding though. Yeah, Conor's taking over the moment right now, man. I'm gonna get something to drink. Mouth dry from all that talking. Ben brought his jab this fight. It took a little bit to find his jab, but he definitely started to find it around like the third to fourth round. So good adjustment on Conor Benn's part for sure. We're gonna get right back to it. As a matter of fact, let me get my charger. I don't want to miss nothing. I don't want to miss nothing. Hurry up, Mark. Let's hurry up. Let's hurry up. Man, because somebody gets sparked, I'm going to be sick. All right, we good. Oh, shit. Woo! Man, Eubank keep pulling back with his hands down, man. I'm telling you, that's going to be a bad situation, especially when the fatigue sets in. It's not a good move. He said this might be over by the ninth. We'll see. Chris Eubank doesn't really look tired to me. Like, he just looks like he's a step off. Remember, I told Chris Eubank to consider retirement after that first victory. Good body shot. That right hand looked like it had an effect on Eubank. Eubank didn't respond well. I think Conor Benn is varying very well, but I think he's trying to lull Chris Eubank to sleep with the body shots, and he's looking to bring a big right hand over the top like he just did. Eubank is tying up any and every opportunity he can. What's going on? Oh, his mouthpiece that came out, which is also not a good sign because that could be a sign of fatigue too. Those are fitted mouthpieces. There's no reason why it's coming out. I wonder if Eubank has the power to hurt Conor Benn. Like, I've seen him rock Conor Benn like head back and stuff like that. But I wonder if he has the power to really get Conor Benn's attention to switch the fight around. Because so far, Eubank has landed some shots, but nothing to really deter or discourage, Conor at all. Very, very interesting. Shout out to the 18 people that's in the building. Yeah, Eubank looks old, man. Eubank looks old. I'm sorry. The way his punches are coming off. Ooh, good right hand. Eubank stepping the Conor. The Eubank just stood around doing that. He might have stole around. The Eubank just stood around. It was mostly Conor Benn's round, but he landed some head snapping shots. Justice said they're gonna make this a trilogy. Conor Benn said no. Conor Benn said after this he going back down to 147 to fight for a world title. I wonder what Eubank Senior saying in the corner. He looks a bit concerned. Woo! Yeah, that 1-2-1-2, that last right hand cracked Conor, but Conor's taking his punches very well. I don't know if one punch is still around, so that might very well be Conor's round. Damn, Carl Froch gave Conor every round. Is it really every round? 8-0? Oh my God. Yo, Eubank is gonna get hurt, man. That pulling back with his hands down, I'm telling you, that's gonna get him hurt, man. Ooh. Yeah, I don't like. I got you. I got bent up. You know what I mean? Anybody who don't got bent up, they tripping. But Not one round for Eubank. Oh, I don't know about that. Ooh, Eubank just landed a good right hook that spun Conor around a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if he has the power to really get Ben's attention. Ben got a good chin, man. Ooh. Let's see. Let's see. Conor Benn's fainting downstairs. He's looking to shoot something over the top. It's the same play. I ain't gonna lie. Conor Benn, he got some speed, good power, you know, combinations. He got some good abilities. Offensively, he's very talented. But IQ wise, he's very predictable, man. Very predictable. IQ not up to par in my opinion amongst like the elite guys, but he's doing what he needs to do to win these rounds against Eubank. Eubank he can't seem to figure it out, and it just seems like it's something going on internally with him. It's like his body's not responding properly to the fight. His timing just like I said, looks like it's a bit off. Punches don't look like they're as fast or intense as they were in the first fight. I don't think that's a coincidence, y'all. Conor Benn is breaking them down. We already in the later rounds. We only got 3 more rounds left. We going into the 10th, y'all. I stopped scoring at this point. It's just not. It's competitive in the first 4, but Connor's walked away with the rounds since then. I've only given Eubank 2 rounds. I haven't given him I haven't given him a round since either the third or fourth. I forgot which round I gave. I think it was the third. I gave him 1 and 3. Since then, it's been a clear shutout. Not shutout, but it's been a clear. It's been utter domination in my opinion. So we into the 10th round. I got a 7-2 Ben. It just seems like kind of all Eubank really has is a jab. And Eubank has actually, despite him losing all these rounds, he's actually out jabbed. Uh, he hasn't outlanded Ben in the jab department, but he's outthrown Ben in the jab department because it's literally all he's had that's really been effective thus far. The problem is he's not really building anything up off of the jab. You feel what I mean? So that's the issue. He just seems to be a bit off with his timing. Conor Benn is showing to be quicker. Ooh wee, good right hand. Yeah, like Eubank's punches don't even look the same, man. Like, see, Conor Benn shoots the 1-2. Chris Eubank shoots a hook, but by the time he gets it off, Conor's nowhere to be found. See, that's a timing issue. He's trying to play the counter punching role, but his time is not there to be an effective counter puncher. That's the issue. Eubank just looks old, man. Lorenzo, what up? Eubank just looks old. Like the fighting, you could tell like the fighting spirit is still there, but it doesn't look like his body's cooperating with his mind. Like you could tell mentally, he's there, but from a physical standpoint, Eubank just doesn't look too good. Good right hand. That was a good right hand from Ben. Eubank Senior is very concerned, yo. It's not looking too good, y'all. What do I do with my water bottle? What the fuck I do with my water bottle? Did I leave it? Oh my god. I went and got my water bottle just to leave it on the counter in the living room. That's that. That's that shitty memory, man. Ralph said his timing is just diminished. That's what it's looking like. Nigel looking very proud in the crowd right now. The 11th round has started, and Conor Benn still looked like he got a full tank, bro. He came in phenomenal shape for this fight. Definitely was motivated, had something to prove. And I remember Terrence Crawford had told him after the fight, he was like, bro, you just got to get in better shape. You got to get in better shape. You want to have that gas tank to, be able to step on the gas. I guess Conor Benn took his advice, you know, and was able to do so because Conor Benn looks exactly in the 11th round how he looked in the first. Still looking, full of energy, still doing the same level changes, still punching with the same speed, same intensity. Nothing's really changed on, Conor's part. Pon la, pon la, ma, pon la pelea, mamá huevo. Tu madre, una puta. Cállate la boca, cabrón. Come mi pola, mariconcito. Dominicans are super feminine and they like things up they rectum. This is just a complete outclassing. Like this is just a dominant performance from Conor Benn. Not gonna lie, I'm a bit disappointed. I am a bit disappointed, but don't say I didn't tell y'all. Don't say I didn't tell y'all. Just go rewind this video from the beginning. I told y'all there's two things that may very well happen. Either Bomac makes this fight easier for Eubank, or he looks old in this fight considering the punishment he took in the first fight. It's looking like the punishment from the first fight has caught up into this fight. You feel what I'm saying? So we might have just seen the last bit of Eubank in that first Conor Benn fight, man. That's it catches up to everybody when you in your mid-30s and you have a tough fight against a significantly younger fighter. And you take some damage. Some of that fight is lost in the ring, man. And you can tell Eubank, oh wow, Conor Benn just threw Eubank against the ropes, bro. Are they cheering for Conor Benn? Like, do people hate Eubank that much in the UK? Are people cheering for Conor Benn in the UK? I don't think Conor Benn really got the pop to really get Eubank up out of there, man. I'm telling you, ever since he got caught with that shit, ever since he been caught with that, the performance enhancement drugs, his knockout, like his finishing ability ain't there. His punching power ain't there, y'all. Like the speed's still there. He got some solid pop, but not that devastating one punch knockout power that we seen prior to his failed drug test. Sad to see, bro. But that's the game for you, man. You could change, a fighter could change and get old in one fight. That's what I see. And what lets me know that it's father time for real is how the way that how he's responding. Look like Eubank Jr. going for it. Look like Jr. going for it. He said, I'm going to bed. Good night, y'all. Hey, man. It is what it is. That's what come with the game, bro. But what's letting me know that Eubank Jr. is looking old in this fight is like he looks lethargic in there, man. He looks a bit lethargic. Uh, doesn't look as fast and as responsive as he did in the first fight. And he's not really reacting defensively, in my opinion, how he typically does. Just look, he looks like a bit like a what they say in the UK, a tad off. Ooh, ooh. Eubank landed some crispy counters, but wait, what happened? I'm a bit off. Is my timing off? Why y'all reacting? Damn, what happened? Man, my shit off. How far off is my shit? Oh shit! There it goes. Yeah, Eubank looks hurt. Eubank looks hurt. There's 40 seconds left. Oh my god. Eubank looks hurt. Eubank looks hurt. Ah shit. He got up immediately. There's 10 seconds left. He's gonna get through the round, y'all. He's gonna get through the round, y'all. Damn. I have like this deep, like, urge to hate on this man. I don't like Conor Benn. He's a drug cheat. He's been a piece of shit from the very start of this Eubank Ben situation, but man, he did what he had to do to get the victory. He did what he had to do to get the victory, man. Started off very competitive in my opinion from the first 4 rounds. I thought Chris Eubank did a great job of utilizing his jab and keeping Conor Benn at bay, even landing some sharp counters at the time. Um, But from the fourth round on, in my opinion, it was just a straight wash. And for Conor Benn, Conor Benn was just quicker to the punch. He landed the harder, more effective shots. Eubank landed some crisp. He was landing some good jabs here and there. He even landed some little good, some solid counters and shit like that. But they're interacting right now. Look at them. They showing some camaraderie, I guess, some sportsmanship. But like I was saying, back to my previous thoughts. This motherfucker Eddie Hearn got Conor Benn in the air, hugging him in the air, got his feet off the ground. Eddie Hearn so happy. But back to my previous thoughts, man. They celebrating as if they got the victory already. Uh, hey, some good jabs, some good jabs from Chris Eubank, but things seem to fall apart. And that was the right hand that I was telling y'all about throughout the entire course of the fight that Eubank couldn't afford to get hit. With that right hand. That right hand ended up catching him in the later rounds. So, huh? You interrupted my live to tell me about some time?
Did you eat already?
Earlier. Yeah, the body shots definitely paid off. So pretty much just to get the gist of the whole thing, started off well. I had a 2-2 going into the fourth, but then it was a straight wash and from Conor Benn from there on. Conor Benn was in phenomenal shape. His power carried over for all 12 rounds, evidently. The speed was there, the explosiveness. He was focused. He wasn't really he really didn't take this fight from an emotional standpoint. He seemed smooth, calculated. He let the fight, come to him. And Chris Eubank just looked a step off, man. I don't know if it was father time. I don't know if he, didn't rest properly enough for the fight. I don't know if he just had I don't know if he was overtrained. I don't know what the situation was, but what I could tell you is Chris Eubank definitely didn't look like himself. You know what I mean? This doesn't take anything away from Conor Benn's victory. He did what he had to do at the end of the night just, to get his. And it is what it is, man. Conor Benn closed the fight off strong, was able to get 2 knockdowns in the 12th round to pretty much seal the deal. There's no way, in my opinion, that Chris Eubank is anywhere near a draw. So this was a good victory for Conor Benn. He was able to avenge the only defeat in his professional career. And he goes on to do some great things. He said after this fight, he's not doing the trilogy. He's going back to 147 pounds, 147. And, he's looking to get a world title. Bella Faith said, this motherfucker's drug test better come back negative. LOL, but wow. Yeah, I agree. I hope that, they look like they showing each other love. That's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. But, hopefully his drug test come back negative. I don't trust Conor Benn at all. It's a lot of insecurity, a lot of unsureness about himself, in my opinion. They're about to announce the winner. But, he fought a phenomenal fight today. He did what he had to do to get the victory. 119, 107. They only gave Eubank one round. 116, 110. So somebody gave Eubank 4 rounds. The knockdowns ruined it for him, though. Nigel better celebrate his son because, his son was able to get a win over a Ben. He wasn't. I mean, over a Eubank. He wasn't able to. So I know they're excited right now, but y'all still down. Y'all still down. Why did you time Marlon out for 30 minutes? Why would you do that? Why did you time out? Why would you do that? You can't do that, bro. Why would you do that? You serious? Man, unban Marlon, bro. That's not even cool. If you did that, don't do that, man. Just because you upset with how the way a fight went, you don't do that, bro. Unban him, bro. That's not cool. If he was rooting for Ben, it is what it is. We can't stop him from rooting for him. Can you remove the timeout? What did y'all think of Eubank, y'all? With your arch rival Chris Eubank Jr. What do you have to say about him? It's got quite real quick. I mean, listen, this wouldn't have been what it was without Chris. And that's most of all. This is generational. This has never been done before in history. So, credit to Chris. Credit to Chris, man. That's all I've got to say. Thank you for sharing the ring with me. We'll see if we can grab a word with Chris Eubank Jr. Wonderful to see. There's not bad for two silver spoon kids, eh? Chris, commiserations. Chris, the verdict from commentary was that even from round 1, Big White lit himself in the ring tonight. What went wrong tonight? Yeah, Marla, you might have just got a wrench off of that situation. That was kind of crazy. But I got you. It is what it is. I tried my best. And listen, the kid fought hard, he fought tough. He's got power, this kid. You know, he was bigger than me on the scouts. I don't know how you did it. I'm looking at him, he's 168. I'm listening to him, I don't know what the hell's going on. But listen, we put on a show. Yeah, Conor Benn was the best man tonight, so congratulations to him. What's next? Chris Eubank humble in defeat, man. I love it. Conor says it's the end of the Eubank Benn saga. What's your opinion on that? It's 1-1. I've got to go away and deal with some of the things I've been dealing with for the last couple of months. And who knows, maybe we'll see something new with me and him, maybe we won't. But for right now, it's all about this man since now. Congratulations, Chris. Great response from Eubank. And we look forward to seeing what is next. Conor, if it's not the trilogy next, back down to 147. 147. I fancy barriers for the WBC world title. Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, all of them Yanks can get it any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Let's bring in your dad. Man, don't nobody believe that shit, you hoe ass nigga. No. You talking about all them Yanks could get it. Bro, shut the fuck up, bro. You had the chance to fight Boots when he signed with Matchroom, you hoe ass nigga. Y'all was hiding from the Yank. Fuck you talking about? I'm gonna get it. He's got one up on me, so I'm not gonna get it, but I'm so proud of what he done tonight. And don't worry, Nigel. You a 2-weight world champion. Your son ain't win a world title yet. Fuck out of here. Bella says his legs were stuck in the mud. He looked way slower than Ben. He was having so much trouble finding Ben. If you go watch the first fight and you watch this fight, they look like two totally different Eubanks. Let's just keep it 1,000. It could have been, him fighting with a rehydration clause back to back. Maybe that hindered his performance. Maybe the damage that he took in the first fight, carried over into the second fight. Maybe Father Time caught up to him. He got older. He's 36 years old. It could be a shit ton of things, man. I'm under the impression that Father Time caught up with Chris Eubank. His timing looked absolutely off. He looked lethargic. He looked slow. The counters wasn't as quick as they was in the first fight. His punches didn't even look like they had the same steam. Coffee said this loss don't count. Yo, that's what I want to say, bro, but I just don't like how Conor Benn talking his shit. You over in the UK talking about any of them Yanks could get it. It's like, bro, stop it. Because when Boo signed with Matchroom, you went quiet. When people talked about you fighting Jaron Ennis at 147, you was talking about fighting Barrios, Pacquiao, Kell Brook, and motherfucking Amir Khan. You was not trying to get that work with Jaron Ennis. But now that Jaron Ennis is out of the division, now you talking about these Yanks could get it. It's like, bro, stop it, bro. I don't know how you'll do with Brian Norman. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Brian Norman might give you the motherfucking business, bro. He might, Conor Benn versus fucking Brian Norman Jr. would be a hell of a fight. That would be a hell of a fight. Tell me I'm lying. Stylistically, Conor Benn with his explosiveness, his quickness, his power, all of that. The hand speed, all that. Him and Brian Norman would be a firefight, bro. That would be an absolute firefight. You calling out Yanks. So what he's referring to is Americans when he say Yanks for people that don't know. You know what I mean? If y'all know y'all history, then, you know what I mean? That's just me informing y'all. He's talking about people from the U.S. So, of course, he must be talking about the guys at 147 who are American guys. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I hope he's not talking about 154. You fought at 154 before, Ben. So let's not act like, let's not act like you too small for the weight class or whatever the case is. You just fought at 160. I'm definitely rooting for Norman. Look, there's some fights where I wouldn't root for Norman, but that fight right there, oh yeah, we ATL heavy out this motherfucker. I'm right with Bella Faith. I'm gonna go link with Bella Faith and we're gonna go watch this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Talking about getting a world title at 147. Are you gonna get the best? We watched these professionals deliberately hope too. We were a little bit worried if there was going to be fight number 2. He's just built Tottenham twice, and now he's going to go and fight for a world title. Tony and the team deserve a lot of credit, but this young man works very, very hard. From a man that comes from, some might say a privileged upbringing, to be as tough as that is, to have that kind of work ethic and drive and hustle, he's some man. I'll tell you what, like I said, to people out there. Hearing what Eddie Hearn got to say, y'all. How do I think Ortiz would do against Conor Benn at 154? Who you talking about, Virgil? Oh my God, Virgil beat the dog shit out of Conor Benn, man. He better leave Virgil Ortiz alone. But Virgil Ortiz is a Yank, so are you talking about him? Man, shout out Clarissa Shields, bro. If he was so near the bell, I think it would have been over. Man, don't nobody give a fuck about what dude talking about. Like Eddie said, he's come from a complete novice into a world level fighter, jumps up 2 weights, and be a world class fighter, ranked number 3 in the world in the Ring magazine. And we want to drop that back down to 147 now, box his natural weight and win a world title. And that's the aim now. So you hear what they saying, y'all? They going to 147 to get a world title. Y'all heard him. Virgil gonna beat the dog shit out of Conor. They better match make him correctly, because look, man, and this was really apparent in this fight with Eubank. Eubank was definitely a shell of himself, in my opinion, man. Looked like he was just a few steps behind. He looked like he was a few steps behind all around the board. Like that Eubank that fought this fight wasn't the same Eubank that fought the first time. You know what I mean? The first Eubank might have been enough to beat this version of Conor Benn, to be fair. However, we're not gonna, speak on that. We're not gonna discredit him. It was a great victory on Conor Benn's part. He did what he had to do, and hopefully he comes back with a negative drug test, because we don't really like that positive drug test shit over here. And this is only being brought up because he's a prior drug cheat. But when you're really assessing Conor Benn, like I said, he has a lot of God-given abilities. He's quick. He got good. He got good punching power. He got good hand speed, good combinations, great gas tank. He got heart. A lot of grit to him, to be honest with you. So he got some things. He got some good qualities. However, I do think that Conor Benn isn't world level in terms of IQ. Like he's very predictable in his approach in the ring. You know what I mean? It's the same things over and over and over again. He had trouble with Eubank's jab. You feel what I mean? Had trouble, closing the gap. You feel what I'm saying? It's just he doesn't, he was mixing up shots to the head and body, but it was the same combinations over and over and over again. And, at the end of the day, he dropped Chris Eubank twice, but he didn't finish him. So this is another fight where he hasn't had, the signature knockouts that he had prior to being caught with PEDs. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't know if Conor Benn might be able to beat these UK level guys. He might be able to beat a Crocker or whatever case is. He might be able to beat a lower level champion at 47 like a Barrios. But I don't know how he does against guys who, have their legs underneath him that's still at the peak of their powers. Like, I don't know how he does with another big puncher. You feel what I'm saying? In the division, like a Brian Norman. Brian Norman is somebody who has immaculate timing, decent hand speed, tremendous power. Somebody who could fight in the pocket, could take a shot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how he does with with a champion like Brian Norman in the division. I don't know how he does against somebody like Devin Haney, who doesn't have the biggest punching power, but has phenomenal IQ, phenomenal hand speed, phenomenal foot speed, athleticism. Like, I don't know how he's able to do with somebody who's on the, IQ level of a Devin Haney. I don't know how he does against, who else? If you want to talk about 54, they talk about 47, but let's talk about 54. I don't know how he does with somebody like Virgil Ortiz, who, has ring intelligence, has good counter punching ability, solid hand speed, explosiveness, and devastating power, good punch placement. I don't know how, Conor Benn holds up with a Virgil Ortiz. Do we really need to talk about Jaron Ennis? I doubt 50 Cent pissed, because I bet you he ain't do that for free. Brooklyn, I bet you he ain't do that for free. He got paid for that. That was a business move. You feel me? I think he could really care less on who wins. And that wasn't his first time walking somebody out anyway. He walked Deontay Wilder out. He walked out Floyd several times in the past. This is a routine for him at this point. And 50 Cent used to be a promoter in boxing. He used to promote Yuriorkis Gamboa. Coffee Plant said, I'm heated. I lost bread. Shit. How much you bet, Coffee? Eubank did look drained, man. It was like drained and, just looked like he looked like a shot fighter. Like, he looked like a shell of himself, in my opinion. 300. And if you would have had a conversation with me, I'd have told you to hold back off that. Because I was concerned about that punishment he took in that first fight. Going into the second fight, I was scared that he was going to get old in this fight. And that's what it looked like. 93 Octane said Conor needs to go back to 47. He could feast on Barrios and Ryan. I definitely got him beating Mario Barrios. He could very well beat Ryan Garcia too, because once Ryan Garcia feel his power, he gonna bitch up. But they two drug cheats at the end of the day. They unsure of themselves. They lack confidence. You know what I mean? They both be putting on fronts like they about that life whole time. They pussy, just like a lot of these guys in boxing, in my opinion. You feel what I mean? But it was a good job. You bet on Ben stoppage 9 through 12. Damn. You almost got it in the 12th, man. Who knows what would have happened if he had like a minute and a half left. But by the time he got that second knockdown, it was only 10 seconds left on the clock. Could have been groceries for the week. Shit, I hear you, bro. Groceries is insane. Like, I remember I bought like a handful of things from this supermarket not too far from my crib. $80. I'm like, what the fuck? How? How the fuck this little ass shit? Bro, it could fit in like 2 bags max. $80. I'm like, God damn. Yo, bro, I already know, bro. R3 says, where does Eubank Jr. go from here? He should move to 168 and fight Berlanga. I don't know. I don't know exactly what his moves are, to be honest with you, man. I was somebody, if you just go check my track record. I put out a video after the first victory, Eubank got over Conor Benn. I said that, Chris Eubank should retire. You feel what I'm saying? I was saying, he should very well retire. What you mean, link card? What you talking about, bro? Because I was saying how, Chris Eubank, I don't think he really fares well with any of the top guys in or around his division. You feel what I mean? Like, I don't think he does well with the champions at 160. Does he beat a Erislandy Lara? Does he beat a a Jana Beck? Does he beat a Carlos Adames? That's just the champions at 160. I don't think so. So let's move on. Let's go up to 168. Does he beat a Terrence Crawford? Absolutely not. Not in my opinion. Not with what we just saw. And I was saying that back in the first fight because no disrespect to Eubank, but he's not a world level fighter. Every time that he's ever stepped up with guys who are remotely world level, like a Billy Joe Saunders or George Groves, whatever the case is, I believe he lost to George Groves. I could go ahead and check on that. That was so long ago. Whenever he's fought anybody remotely of world level, he's come up short. And I don't think that's a coincidence at all. I think he was a phenomenal talent. You know what I mean? But for the most part, he never proved to be like this world title, world level caliber type of guy. You feel what I mean? So now that he's older, he got some wear and tear. He could have ended his career on a good note. He could have very well ended the career on a good note and be like, you know what? This was the best victory of my career. This just solidified my legacy as a Eubank. Let me go ahead, fall back, enjoy this 8-figure check I just got, enjoy time with my family. That was some, and really look at 168. Can he beat, can he beat any of the top? Can he beat an Billy? Of how the way he just had trouble. He just had trouble with pressure from a guy who fought as low as 147. Is he going to be able to keep up with an Billy, a Lester Martinez, a fucking a Terrence Crawford, even a current version of Canelo? I don't think he beats a current version of Canelo. I don't think he beats any of them guys. No disrespect, but like I said, he's never shown to be world level. So why would I think he's world level at 36 years old when I didn't think he was world level at 26 years old? You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I see people in the chat saying that they want to Conor Benn to win. I wasn't really too fond of that. Me personally, you're not going to ever catch me rooting for Conor Benn to win. You know what I mean? I have my reasons. I'm not really too fond of drug cheats at all. So it is what it is. You feel me? I would never root for Conor Benn to win. If this motherfucker was to lose 10 fights in a row, I could care less because he's never taken accountability. And like guys like Shane Mosley, it was like, yo, I did it. You feel what I'm saying? So then, you don't trust the motherfucker, but you like, all right, at least he admitted his wrongdoings. He looking to, right his wrongs. He's looking to stay on a clean path. People can change in my opinion, so it is what it is. But this dude, Conor Benn, has lacked all accountability for his wrongdoings. You know what I mean? He's celebrating like a motherfucker right now. He can't believe that he beat Chris Eubank. You feel what I'm saying? And all he ever does is just deflect. And I'm not too fond of men in particular who lack accountability. That shit seems to be common amongst women. You know what I mean? But part of being a man is admitting that you've done wrong and growing from the situation. Conor Benn, he seems to lack that. He got that spoiled, bitch-made mentality, in my opinion. And I think that's going to end up catching up to him later on in his career, especially when he steps up in competition. You feel what I mean? But it is what it is. Berlanga even beats Eubank, not going to lie. He may possibly. Berlanga is a significantly bigger dude. And, Eubank started off cool, but he seemed burnt out. He seemed burnt out. Eubank had his jab going. He was landing some good 1-2s. You know what I'm saying? But, as the round, by the fourth round, he looked like he was cooked. He looked burnt out, like he was overtrained or, it had to be something. Father Time just catching up to him. Because, there's guys who, when they start to decline, they gas out easier or, they timing just fades. And, there's a lot of things that could show somebody to be a shot fighter. And kind of, with Eubank, it looked like his legs, pretty much wasn't underneath him. His timing was extremely off. Legs stuck in the mud. Couldn't find his timing offensively. He couldn't find the rhythm offensively. I don't know, man. Like, you could tell the mind frame was there. Like, he was game. He was locked in mentally, but his physical wasn't able to keep up with his mind. And if you're lacking in any one of those departments, you're not going to have a good time, man. You're not. Ben said it was the eggs. I hope not. If he failed another drug test, bro, he needs to be banned permanently from the sport. Because he looks stronger. He looks stronger than Eubank all around the board. And that could have been just because, and that could be because Eubank just, is a damaged fighter from that punishment he took in the first fight. But, regardless, it is what it is, man. I'm not going to congratulate Conor Benn on the victory. And if I did previously, I take it back. You know what I mean? I just don't like how he went about the Eubank situation from the very beginning. And he's celebrating as if he wants some type of Super Bowl. It's like, bro, you won a domestic level, like a UK level fight, bro. Relax. Sam Kirkman said, how can you blame rehydration when his last 8 years of boxing was fighting at 160? Maybe because of the rehydration clause that was put on him not being able to put 10 pounds on, 24 hours after a fight. Maybe that diminished his abilities in rehydrating properly and performing properly. That could very well be it. I don't think fighting at 160 was a problem. I think limiting how much he could rehydrate after weighing in at 160, that may have been a problem. The longer you stay at a weight, you know what I mean, the more it could hurt you. And the more you may need to replenish in order to perform at an optimum level. They cut him to 170, but maybe Eubank needed to be more in the 75, 78 range 24 hours, the morning of the fight. All they did was delay his rehydration process, and it may very well have hindered his performance. Eubank Sr. talked about the dangers of dehydration. He was very concerned for his son leading up to the first fight, and remember Junior's 36 facts. And I took that all into consideration. Senior didn't like the idea of dehydrating his son. Because look, man, Eubank Sr. been there before. He knows the effects of dehydration and what it could possibly do to a fighter. He understands how the boy brain damage goes. You know what I'm saying? And the lack of fluid that you can have in your brain could really cause some type of brain damage. And you got to take into consideration too, that's his father. So he's going to be concerned about it, whether he has a rehydration clause. Even if he fought at 175, he's going to have a level of concern for his son. I know if my son was fighting, I'd be extremely concerned too. Especially if I feel like my son is being slighted, like in the business department. I'm going to have an issue with that. And maybe that's how he felt. But for people to say, oh, he made 160 so many times, what's the problem now? Bro, he's being told how much he could rehydrate to, and it may possibly hinder his performance as a result of that. Let's say you've been fighting at 160. You said what, 8 years? 8 years, champ. Let's say in those 8 years that you've been at 160, your body has grew significantly, especially when you get older. You naturally put on more weight most of the time. Let's say 8 years ago when you was at 160, you was only rehydrating at like 171, 170, whatever the case is. But now 8 years down the line, now your body's more comfortable walking around at 180. Let's say your body's more comfortable. Your body has matured. It's grown since then. So let's say 180. And this rehydration clause says, yo, you can only rehydrate to 170 in the morning of the fight. Okay. So now I'm pretty much starving myself by only putting on 10 pounds. And, I'm trying to, get back into, I do the morning weigh-in on 169, 170, whatever the case is. Now I have to force myself to put on this 10 pounds in hopes that I feel better. The whole time I feel sluggish. Your body needs time to recoup. Your body needs time to, rest and, get that weight to replenish your system. You know what I'm saying? I think the rehydration clause can be very hurtful to fighters, and it's shown in the past. It's shown in the past, man. And this may very well have been an example of that. It could have been other things that taken place, like Father Time, but this rehydration clause probably caught up to Eubank. And let's keep it real. In the first fight, Eubank was fighting. He won that fight off of will, heart, determination. He was fighting off of fucking fumes in that fight with Conor. He just outdogged Conor. But now Conor wasn't really approaching it like trying to go heart for heart with dude. No, he was using strategy. He was removing his emotions from the fight. He was using skills. He was attempting to use whatever IQ he had in order to get the victory, just breaking them down piece by piece instead of, just crashing out. So that heart for heart shit didn't work. Hart wasn't going to win him the fight this time. And he got beat up. He got broken down. And he damn near got stopped in this fight. So, great performance from Conor Benn. Like I said, I'm not going to congratulate him because, like I said, from the very beginning, he was moving real shady with this fight. Hopefully, he come back with a negative drug test. But he fought good. He fought good, man. R3 says, do you disagree with the IBF rules and the 10-pound rehydration clause? I do. You feel what I mean? I understand what the IBF is trying to do, though. They're trying to eliminate, the quote-unquote weight bullies that are in divisions and shit like that, and, trying to ensure guys, they probably provided some type of safety net for the guys who walk around close to the fight weight. I get it. But at the end of the day, these fighters make sacrifices. They put their body through a shit ton of hell in order to get to these weight classes. You can't tell somebody what weight they should be fighting at. You feel what I'm saying? So if they want to make that sacrifice and cutting, let them do that. But you shouldn't be able to tell these guys what they should be able to walk in at, at the end of the day. That's just me. And let's say they weight bullies. Let's say whoever is, let's say these guys are weight bullies, whatever the case is, it's going to catch up to them. Y'all remember Jared Hurd, right? Jared Hurd was always bragging about, walking around at this weight, blah, 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 but fighting at 154. How does he make this weight? He's bigger than super middleweights. He's bigger than middleweights, blah, blah, blah. And then he was bragging about cutting corners because he was beating these guys. Like, he beat Austin Trout. He beat Erislandy Lara. He was beating guys. He beat Tony Harrison. So he was poking his chest out like he was somebody. What happened when he ran into that dude from West Philly, though? What happened when he ran into that dog from West Philly? That weight bully shit didn't matter. This motherfucker getting haircuts in the locker room, and he was getting ready for Jamel Charlo, so he felt like J-Rock was a tune-up. And guess what? He got tuned up because he thought that that weight bully shit was gonna play a part in the fight, and all it did was fuck him over because he got hit to the body so clean in the beginning of the fight. He was running off of fumes going into the late rounds, and he got punished. And he got punished. So, I understand, standing up to weight bullies and guys who are trying to manipulate, the system, but at the same time, you can't tell somebody where to fight, what weight to fight at. You feel what I mean? But weight bullies, they causing a huge. They should be known the dangers that they put in their body through, and if they face any consequences as a result of that, let them go through it. It's their choice. I'm not really too fond of the rehydration clause. That's just my opinion. So, hey, that's clothes that I had at my mom's house. Look through it. Those all hoodies and jackets. Look at it. You might see something you like. I thought I did too, but my mom was like, take this shit with you. And I'm like, all right. I still got clothes over there. I think that was the last bit of it, though. Look through it. You might see something you like. There's a lot of hoodies. Yeah. Do I rock with Joseph Parker? I always put a lot of respect on Joseph Parker's name because I thought he was a top contender in the division. Prior to the Fabio Wardley loss, I said that he was the most credible guy to face Alexander Usyk for all of the belts. I was somebody who was like, yo, there's nobody that's deserving more of a shot at undisputed than Joseph Parker, just based off of what he's done. Beating guys like Deontay Wilder, who a lot of people thought he would lose against. Julie Zhang, who a lot of people thought he would lose against. Martin Bacoli, who, came in on 24 hours notice, but nonetheless, Martin Bacoli's still a name, right? So he did what he had to do to get these victories. Everybody else was pretty much not doing what he was doing outside of Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois pulled out of the fight with Joseph Parker due to being sick. So, guys like Turki Al-Sheikh was out here saying that Joseph Parker and Alexander Usyk wasn't the fight that he wanted to make. He wanted to make Moses Atama versus Usyk. So we like, the fuck, don't nobody want that shit? Like, why are you calling for that? So while Joseph Parker is waiting around. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna take another fight against the dangerous Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley caught up with him, and then we just found out yesterday or the day before they tested positive for cocaine. And, water. I mean, from what I understand, cocaine is water soluble, right? So what that means is, you could get that up out of your system within 2 to 3 days. But if you are like a cocaine abuser, they're saying that it could be in your system for as long as 2 weeks. My question is, how bad is Joseph Parker on the cocaine? Because I see him out here saying that he denies it and that he's not on it. But at the end of the day, man, come on, bro. Where they getting is the motherfucker who testing your PEDs, are they on cocaine? And you know what I mean? Some cocaine they had on their hands slipped in your drug test. Like, I don't know. That's very hard to believe. But I tell you what, Joseph Parker, take a hair follicle test. Take a hair follicle test. If you take a hair follicle test and it turns out that you do not have cocaine in your system, because from what I understand, hair follicles go back as far as 3 months. If you pass that, motherfuckers will let you slide and you continue on about your career. But that's not very likely, in my opinion, man. I think Joseph Parker has a real problem. He's admitted to alcoholism in the past. He's been involved, in allegations, about, exchanging drugs for cash and shit like that. So back in 2021. So who's to say that he's not on the drugs? He's close friends with Tyson Fury, who's a recreational coke user in the past. So, it's not necessarily far-fetched. It's not really far-fetched. But like I was saying yesterday, man, you need to go ahead. If once you come to grips with that, once you come to grips that you have a true issue, go get the help that you need, man, because you are a great talent in the heavyweight division. Even though you came up short against Fabio Wardley, you still got a lot of support. There's going to be people, that's going to be advocating for you to, continue to get these big fights. And even though you lost, we're in an era now where you could lose and still fight for a world title in your next fight. Like, we see it happening. So, Joseph Parker need to get his head back in the game, man. Keep his nose clean, literally. And take his career serious, man, because you don't have as much time as you think you do. You playing with your time, brother. R3 said, how could you be unaware that coke is in your system? I don't understand that. That's what I don't understand neither. It's like, was the person who, tested your samples, were they on cocaine? Like how else would this cocaine be in your system and you not know about it? That's insane to me. That don't even make sense. You have to do a whole lot to get cocaine in your system. You damn near gotta put it somewhere in your mouth or your nose, whatever the case is. You telling me that you don't know how cocaine got in your system? Stop it. And considering the fact that it only lasts on average 2 to 3 days, that means that you was taking coke very recent because you failed the drug test the day of the fight. So that means that fight week, you participated in taking cocaine. So that lets me know you have a serious issue because there's no reason why. There's no reason why you should be snorting drugs when you got a huge, tough fight in front of you in Fabio Wardley. No fight whatsoever should you ever be taking cocaine. But if you want to do it on the off season, that's more understandable. That's how they caught Benavidez because he was just out partying, wilding, or whatever the case is. But fight week, you got some issues, brother. Like, that's that Hector Camacho, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. or even Jr. situation. You got to get over some things, brother, because if you continue to partake in those, recreational activities, that could really hurt your chances of doing some big shit in boxing to close out your career. Like, that's very unfortunate. But, yeah, man, that was the conclusion of Conor Benn versus Eubank 2. I hope you guys enjoyed the round-by-round commentary. I hope you guys appreciated the analysis and the results. I just wanted to let y'all know as well, man, is I have officially locked in an interview with Bruce Shoo Carrington, man. I'm cooking up on that interview as we speak. I'm formulating the questions. If anybody wants to ask any questions to Bruce Shoo Carrington, please let me know. I'm going to try to incorporate them questions. If I feel like it's a great question, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to shout you out. I'm going to put the question up. And Shusha will answer your questions. Y'all, I would like to thank Atif O'Burlton for, setting up the interview for us. You know what I mean? I asked for a quick favor. He was able to come through with that. And since Bruce Carrington and Atif O'Burlton got a great got a great relationship, I was able to get that opportunity. So I would like to thank Atif O'Burlton for that. We definitely going to bring Atif O'Burlton on the channel as well. You feel what I mean? Because I do think that he's one of the most talented individuals in the sport of boxing, one of the most gifted ones. I just think it's really a matter of getting him in the right positions to make these fights happen. You feel what I mean? You want to know what happened with the Carlos Castro fight. Okay, just remind me in the group chat, Anonymous, so I could write it down, because I write everything on my notes on my phone. So please remind me of that so I could go ahead and get that situated for you, brother. Appreciate you very much. Shout out to the nation. Shout out to the mob. I'll be back at y'all with another live 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to continue cooking up on what's going on in the boxing world. Like I said, I hope you guys appreciated the commentary, the analysis, and the results of the fight. Let me know what y'all think about this, man. Until then, this is Marcus Rosa, a.k.a. Mazuma TV, signing off. I hope you guys have a blessed, beautiful one. I'm up out of here, man. Peace.